do want to ask you, as far as quarterbacks go, was that the perfect farewell for Joe Milton, or do you think he plays in the bowl game? Does he do the crowd a favor, per se, and opt out and let Nico kind of take over, kind of like he did last year? Because he's already got the bowl win. He's got a New Year's Six bowl win. So technically, that bowl win is way better than whatever they're going to go playing in this year. And he had a great game in it. So does he prepare for the draft now, or does he want to play one more game with the boys?
So I'm glad that you brought that up. We both listened to the Eric Ainge show, 99.1 out of Knoxville. They had a conversation about that this past week, and I've kind of been saying all along that I think Joe sticks with his team and plays in this bowl game. He finishes off his career in Knoxville with a bowl win, hopefully. But Brian Rice made a good point on the show this past week. He said, unless you are a top 10 draft pick. No, let me back up. Sorry. He said, unless you are playing for a BCS playoff game, if you are a quarterback that still has something to prove, you need to go ahead and try to prepare for the draft and get your draft stock up some, which is a situation that Joe Milton is in right now. He's not going to be playing for a playoff game. He needs to do what he can in that draft process to try to, help build his stock a little bit. Because right now, I do think that he will get drafted, but it's going to be in the mid to late rounds based on what he put together on the field this year. But his overall athletic ability, he's just as athletic, if not more athletic, along with his arm strength than Anthony Richardson was, who went third overall last year. So I think Joe Milton would be doing himself a favor to go ahead and go to the draft, and I would be happy for him if he did that. If he decided to come back for a bowl game, I'd be happy for that too. But as a Vol fan going forward, I think I would like to see him go ahead and go to the draft. Go ahead and let Nico come in and take the snaps in the bowl game, get him prepared for next year. But also, to go along with that, I think it would look really good for Tennessee recruiting-wise going forward if you see 2 years in a row Tennessee has got a quarterback being drafted. So I think that he needs to go ahead and prepare for the draft and let his best game in a Tennessee uniform be that Vanderbilt game to finish off his career. I think he go out on a high note.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think you really focus for the combine. I mean, that's what he really needs to focus on, because that's when you're going to have the scouts there. You need to start preparing for pro day in the spring. Whatever he needs to do. But to your point about the whole recruiting process, man, I think they're already starting to see that. You got Jake Merklinger. So you had Nico that's in the boat right now that's about to take over your team. You got Jake Merklinger that's in the boat that's about to come in December, I think. And then you've got a 2025 guy, 5-star, in George McIntyre. And if you can put together 3 of those dudes to where you can have some back, how often in the last, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years, you don't even have a 2 deep really at quarterback. And now you're about to have a 3 deep out of this world next season when you get George McIntyre in for the 2025 year. That's something that Tennessee's not really had the luxury of. And so if that'll be, if Nico has the career that we all think he can, you're talking, at this case, you're putting 3 back-to-back starters of your team in the NFL, and now it's starting to feed itself. So this is something that we've not seen out of Tennessee, and quite honestly, ever, if that were to be the case. I mean, we're lucky to get a guy into the NFL. I mean, Josh Dobbs went in the NFL 8 years ago, and he's finally getting a chance and an opportunity, and he's taking advantage of it, don't get me wrong. But, and you see how much Tennessee fans, they follow our guys when they go to the league. I'm not a big NFL guy myself, but by God, you best be believing I'm watching Jalen Hyde for the Giants finally show up. I'm watching Josh Dobbs tomorrow, Jawan Jennings with the San Francisco 49ers. Hell, I watched Trey Smith block for Kansas City in the Super Bowl. Like, I'm going to follow my guys. That's who I am. And so maybe that just goes more into the passionate fan base. And that's we control a lot more than I think even we know, even though I know we know that we control a lot, but just our love and our passion for the players and for the team and our university, it's going to attract its own fair share of guys